Welcome to Psychology the Daf. We are in Gemara Pesachim, Daf Yud Gimel. This Gemara mentions the idea based on a pasuk in Bamidbar, Lamed Beis, pasuk Chaf Beis, V'yisem Nikiyim me'Hashem u'miyisrael, that a person should try to be above suspicion. So even if there's a situation where one is doing something totally proper and correct, but if it looks suspicious, one should try to be above suspicion. And the Gemara in Yoma, Daf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph, tells us of a number of striking examples. So, for example, the priestly family of Garmu, who were in charge of the showbread, the Lechem Hapanim, in the Beis Hamikdash, they never consumed products made out of fine flour, so nobody would suspect them of pilfering from the Beis Hamikdash supply. Likewise, the women of the family of Avtinas, and those priests were in charge of the incense in the Beis Hamikdash, they never wore perfume, so no one should suspect them of pilfering the supply in the Beis Hamikdash. It seems endemic to human nature to doubt others. And here we see that even great men, even in very high positions, needed to take extraordinary steps to be above suspicion. So let's talk about the psychology of doubt. According to researchers Roy Lewicki and Edward Tomlinson, distrust is the confident expectation that another's individual motives, intentions, and behaviors are sinister and harmful to one's interests. In interdependent relationship, this often entails a sense of fear and anticipation of discomfort or danger. Distrust has also been linked to lower job satisfaction, commitment, and motivation. Now, of course, sometimes distrust is justified. It can arise directly from the result of personal experience among individuals, such as one person breaks a promise to another or fails to fulfill an important role and responsibility. Distrust is obviously likely to increase with the magnitude of the violation, the number of past violations, and the perception that the offender intended to commit the violation. Hence, the idea that if a great person makes a Chilul Hashem, it's far more damaging. Now, once in place, distrust forms a powerful frame on subsequent events in the relationship, even in other relationships, such as then when there's good faith efforts to restore the relationship or good faith efforts to behave in a trustworthy way, that is met with skepticism and suspicion. Ultimately, it could become a self-fulfilling prophecy where every move the other person makes is interpreted as additional evidence that justifies the initial distrust. So distrust not only inhibits cooperation in the relationship, but it also can cause retaliation, conflicts to escalate, and sometimes even retaliation in advance, as it were, which certainly fuels escalation and conflict. Now, researchers Lewicki and Tomlinson, they try to differentiate between functional and dysfunctional distrust. So functional distrust is obviously helpful in certain situations. It allows people to not be naive, to protect their boundaries, and also to set limits in healthy ways in various relationships. So, for example, I might trust my friend and lend him $100. I might not trust my friend and lend him my car. I might trust a worker to complete a small job and leave the house for a little while. I might not give the worker the key to my house. So the point is that certainly trust and using the instinct of trust is very valuable. On the other hand, there's dysfunctional distrust, which can lead to adverse effects. As noted, it is associated with a lack of cooperation, lower satisfaction, commitment, and possibly even retribution and actively hostile behavior. Taken to its extreme, distrust can give rise to paranoid cognitions, such as false or exaggerated belief that people are malevolent toward them. There could be perceptions that are accurate in a sense that the behavior is seen, but the attributions result from hypervigilance, which is noticing things to a much greater degree than they should be, rumination, brooding or stewing on the meaning of the other person's behavior and intentions, and then resulting in a faulty assessment of what the person really is distrust leads parties to reduce their willingness to share information, to engage in problem solving, and be collaborative. Oftentimes, when there's distrust, people come up with what we call, quote, compromises. But the compromises mean just basically, in a Solomonic way, cutting the baby in half, because there can't be any genuine sharing and collaboration. So it's basically, in some way, you try to cut it in a way that it feels fair, because everybody is so careful to make sure that it's fair, as opposed to a very open negotiation and brainstorming and exploring different possibilities where perhaps one party needs something more than the other. Needless to say, the impact this has on relationships is significant.